Britain's roads are busier than ever. With more than 10 million vehicles making journeys every day, crashes will happen. And now, over 4 million dash cams and drones are catching all the action. We're seeing the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Wow!
Whether on 2 wheels or 4, this compelling footage is being filmed by the people at the heart of the action.
I looked out that window and saw the front grille of that truck and I thought, today you die.
Through them, we are seeing high-speed collisions and unexpected events. We'll meet the motorists capturing more crashes than ever before. This is Car Crash Britain. Paying attention is recommended on all roads, but especially on motorways, where the tiniest slip can leave you spinning out of control. And it doesn't matter what the conditions are like if you've got a drunk driver on the road.
You got everything you deserve, you. He ain't gonna drive off, is he?
He is.
He is.
And if you do spin out and are going to drive off, best to make sure it's in the right direction. You're around 7 times less likely to have an accident on the motorway than on any other road. But because of the speeds involved, if you do, it'll probably be serious. Though this driver was unharmed. And Ian and Tina Reid don't need reminding of the dangers of the motorway. This is the M20 near their home in Hythe, Kent. If Ian looks nervous, it's because this is the first time he's been back here since they almost lost their lives.
It was Ian's birthday and I decided that we'd go to cinema to see Jurassic World.
Yeah, I like Jurassic Park, I like to see it as a films, and it was just get out, see a film, or we'd come back here, then have the meal, a couple of drinks. But it didn't quite work out like that on the day.
After just a couple of minutes on the motorway, they moved to overtake an HGV.
We went past him, it must have been like a sixth sense. I just sensed, and I turned round and he was inches away from us. And I've shouted to Tina, watch out, but there's nothing we can do. So, 38 tonne, travelling at that speed, unbelievable, the impact and the sound, and he just hammered us.
The lorry had clipped the car at speed, sending the Reeds spinning off the motorway.
It's what they say, everything slowed down, and I just thought, well, this is it. You thought we was dead. You thought you was dead.
I thought I was dead. I looked out that window and saw the front grille of that truck and I thought, today you die.
The force of the impact sends the car careering into a field and spins the dash cam round, capturing the couple's shock.
Like you can see, we sit there in silence for a bit, checking that we've both got arms, legs, and it was just, we just couldn't believe it.
You alright, yeah, are you? Are you alright?
I've hurt my rib.
Okay, okay.
We're going to call the police.
I spent 12 years in the infantry, 18 years as a policeman, and I spent 4 years working in Iraq and Afghanistan. And that is the closest I've ever been to being killed.
Despite avoiding serious injury, Ian was left with one mystery.
The strangest thing of all was when I got out of the vehicle, I thought, what's that? And I had to drop my jeans down to my knees, and my boxer shorts were full of broken glass. I had no idea. Literally full of broken glass from the passenger door window.
Turn the car off.
Definitely a birthday to remember. We won't forget that one in a hurry.
Ever.
Ever.
No one likes being caught at the lights, but risking lives like this is never a good idea.
Oh, there's a good one.
Jump the lights at one of the UK's 6,000 level crossings and hundreds of people could be hurt. Or just yourself. Or your car. Collisions between vehicles and trains are rare. Amazingly, no one was seriously hurt here. In the last year, there were 7 collisions, but over 70 near misses, similar to these, that could have been an awful lot nastier. This driver's response to seeing an oncoming train: stop across the tracks, change gear, and reverse. Some close calls make no sense at all. And all of them can be incredibly scary for other road users. Enfield Lock in northeast London. 380 trains and 4,500 drivers use it every day. And Ross Malakis is one of them.
There are always problems with that level crossing. Always something going on.
And on his dash cam, Ross captures some extraordinary risk-taking.
I'll see the people going through the red lights, through the amber lights. I'll see the people going into the yellow box. They literally try to avoid it by going on a footpath, on the pavements. It's not worth, at the end of the day, risk your life and lives of other people.
And one day, Ross filmed an incident that was more dangerous than any he'd seen before. Desperate not to wait, a woman and her young daughter drive onto the crossing before the road ahead is clear. Big mistake. The barriers close, trapping her in the path of oncoming trains.
I could see her because I was actually just literally about a few meters away from her. She looked frightened. She was really scared. She didn't know what to do. She started panicking inside her vehicle, and she started looking both directions to see whether there are any trains coming towards her.
The desperate driver manoeuvres against the barrier, hoping somehow to get out of the way of the oncoming trains.
I was worried that the train's going to hit her, she's going to lose her life, and then she's probably going to injure some of the people on board of the train.
Luckily, with the train approaching, a network rail controller sees what's happening via a camera and opens the barriers.
It's only been about 20 seconds when she's been trapped in it, but it felt ages. It literally felt ages.
All over then? Well, not quite. As the driver indicates and tries to get off the tracks, a cyclist jumps the lights and she almost hits him.
Then 20 seconds later, the train went.
There are worse things than waiting at a level crossing, and getting hit by a train is definitely one of them. On Britain's roads, you never know what's coming round the next corner. Amazingly, these drivers escaped without major injuries. But it's not just vehicles you have to watch out for. There are plenty of other hazards. From fireworks to barriers.
Oh!
This is the Women's Tour of Britain. Or it was. Sometimes it's not vehicles that are the problem, but stuff falling off them. What's come off this car? Just one of its wheels. And how do you keep a handle on this? Is there a draft in the back? Yes, debris from other vehicles can be extremely dangerous. As Andy Foster from Aylesbury, Buckinghamshire knows too well. Once, driving was a way of life.
On the road. I was working as a sales rep, selling sports products around the southeast, and I was driving about 35,000 miles a year.
But a bolt from the blue would change all that.
On the day of the accident, it was a Monday morning, bright and sunny. I'd been on the road probably about an hour and a half, something like that.
On Andy's dash cam, a waste haulage lorry can be seen directly ahead.
I was aware something wasn't quite right because there was paper and debris coming off the top of the lorry.
But it wasn't waste paper Andy should have been worried about. Suddenly, there's a cloud of dust by one of the lorry's wheels, and then a large chunk of hot metal breaks away and smashes through his windscreen, ricocheting around the car.
It was pretty scary. I mean, the noise, it was like a bomb had gone off. I was bleeding from my left hand, but I got glass in my lip and my cheek. Nasty shoulder injury as well. The force was so great that there was actually glass in the boot.
Andy found out the metal was part of the lorry's brake drum. Despite coming close to death, he feels the experience has actually changed his life for the better.
I mean, it really makes you think about life and what you do for a living and stuff like that. I've gone from doing 35,000 miles a year down to 10,000 miles a year. My work now is locally based, which is quite a relief, to be honest.
There are some things you don't expect to see on a Sunday drive. And some you might never be able to unsee. You can understand a horse or menacing birds on the road, but a reindeer? Yep, there's no doubt there's some strange stuff on Britain's roads. Are those L plates? Oh, that's not safe. But it's not just us. This UFO has been spotted in Ireland. Sorry, this UFO followed by the police. So keep your eyes on the road. You'll never know what you'll see next.
Whoa! Hell.
Meet John Coleman, aka Johnny the Boy. He rocks.
It's the guitar, the drums, the full-on, in-your-face, it's loud, gets your heart pumping, it's the thrash.
And he trucks.
One day I could be multi-dropping in London, the next day I could be up and down the country. That's what I like about the job, you never know what you're going to get.
And that was definitely true one hot afternoon, as John headed back to Cambridgeshire, dashcam running.
I was coming back towards our base, and I could smell burning. I thought it was a bonfire. But as the cars that were in front of me started overtaking the tractor in front, the smell was getting a lot more intense. Well, I don't know if he knows, but that load of straw is on fire. Yep, it's on fire.
To his horror, it becomes clear the first tractor's load of straw has caught light. a possible case of spontaneous combustion in the heat.
The first big lump of straw fell off that was on fire, and little fireballs were dropping everywhere.
Whoa!
And it was just, oh God, this is mental.
Oh man, this is mental.
And it was all falling off everywhere, and it just got worse and worse.
So, what do you think the worst thing is that could turn up now?
Balls of fire!
How about a lorry with a full load of straw heading straight towards the blaze?
Oh man!
He came round the corner, and you can hear it in the back. Everybody, no! It was like it's just total chaos.
Somehow the flames don't spread to the straw lorry, but now John's thoughts turn to his own safety.
Oh crap! Gotta get out of here.
I just filled up with diesel, and it was a case of I've got to think of how I can get out of there.
Yeah, I know. Reverse. It's a light behind me.
Somehow the line of traffic edges backwards, and John is able to manoeuvre his lorry out of the range of the flames and watch the efforts of the locals as they wait for the fire service.
There's a guy with a bucket of water.
You're gonna need a bigger bucket.
Great balls of fire!
Coming up, a hit-and-run driver sends a biker flying.
A few things went through my head. The main thing was like, this is going to hurt.
And a lorry driver's astonishing act of bravery.
All went in my mind. We were both going to die, because the heat was unbelievable.
The driving test, compulsory since 1935. It's always been daunting.
The lady learner is very anxious to pass her driving test, and she's decided that a reminder of the correct stopping signal is a good idea. Hence the strange device.
And no matter what modern tech you have at your disposal, to pass your test, along with 700,000 other people a year, you're going to have to drive on some real roads.
And for the outside instructors, life won't be spent on the brink of a nervous breakdown.
Well, depending on what other road users are up to. Driving instructor Abdul is well aware that it can be those who have passed their test who cause problems.
You spotted the hazard very well. You spotted it very well.
His onboard camera has seen how people too easily lose their patience with learners and nearly cause accidents. During lessons, he's been hit from all angles. This driver didn't even stop. While this incident gave the learner a real fright. Watching these, it's perhaps not a surprise. Only half of Brits pass their test first time around.
We did have some close ones, didn't we?
Oh yeah, yeah.
One of Abdul's pupils was Jilly.
Come on, you can do it.
She was just a month from her test when one driver gave her a learning experience that isn't in the manual.
I saw a driver approaching us from behind. We were in the left lane and they overtook us.
Suddenly this car just came in from the right. We stopped, the car stopped to the left-hand side, and I'm just a bit stunned. We just waited for the person to get out of the car and come to us, you know, to exchange details, etc., etc., and she drove off.
The hit-and-run driver was eventually tracked down. She was ordered to pay a fine and given 6 points on her driving licence.
People always forget they were once learners, and they should be patient to the learner drivers.
And the important question, how did Jilly do in her test?
I just thought, I'm going to fail. But somehow, I think, because I didn't think I was going to pass because of what happened, I passed.
It's certainly not recommended preparation, though. Motorcycling. It might be exciting, but that excitement can come at a cost. Though, amazingly, here, no injuries. Sometimes crashes don't involve other vehicles. What was that? Oh, just a bike taking a ride? Without a rider? But sometimes collisions are a result of drivers misjudging their position.
Oh my God!
Amazingly, this man was uninjured, but you're 38 times more likely to be killed in a crash on a motorbike than in a car. So even though bikers might have a tough reputation...
Go in there, boy.
In a crash, they're pretty fragile.
Ow.
For Patrick Casey and his dad Sean from Yorkshire, nothing beats a powerful bike and an open road.
Me and my dad, we love going on the bikes together.
Yeah, most weekends in the summer, when there's nothing else on in the family, we get out on our bikes.
But one weekend, Patrick and Sean would end up wishing they'd stayed at home. Mid-morning on the A63 past Howden, a road they know well.
The day was lovely. Blue skies, dry roads. It was a really, really good day for a ride.
Sean's onboard camera captures his son on the road ahead, waiting for a safe place to overtake two slow-moving cars.
Just sat behind and waited for an opportunity to overtake, and then saw a decent gap. I put my indicator on, went for the overtake, and when I got next to him, he just dramatically and quite aggressively came out.
The driver had gone to overtake the car in front without checking his mirrors.
I just panicked and hit the brakes hard, and then that's when the car clipped the left-hand side of my handlebars, and then that's when the bike kicked me off. A few things went through my head, and the main thing was like, this is going to hurt.
Patrick's horrified father can do nothing but watch as his son smashes onto the road.
It was as if your heart stopped. Yeah, I was just hoping for the best, hoping that he was going to be not seriously injured. It looked bad.
I landed on my head and shoulder, and the left-hand side of my body all hit the ground quite hard, and then I just started sliding and rolling. And then the one thing I can remember hearing is the sound of a car just accelerating away. I was thinking, is that the guy or has he stopped?
Unbelievably, the driver speeds off, leaving Patrick lying in the road with only his dad to help him.
The next thing I knew, my dad was stood next to me grabbing my helmet saying, you all right, you all right? I was like, tell my dad I'm fine. Don't worry about me, go check my bike.
The bike was a write-off, but the footage enabled the police to track down the driver, who was fined £775 and given 10 points on his licence. Patrick suffered severe grazes and bruises, but remarkably was able to give a thumbs up to Sean's camera before turning it off.
I'm all good.
It's your worst nightmare.
Cars on fire.
There are over 20,000 vehicle fires in the UK every year. But at least vehicle fires tend to happen after a collision when the driver's got away. Unless you're this bloke. It's not the Batmobile. And Hollywood-style explosions, well, they don't happen at all. Except very rarely when they do. Fortunately, nobody was hurt in these blazes, but if a fire does lead to an explosion, you better hope you're nowhere near. 4:30 in the morning, and Mark Munden Griffiths was driving his usual route up the M6, delivering veterinary supplies.
It was a normal weekday night, travelling up to Carlisle, nothing special out of the ordinary, quite clear, not much traffic.
As he nears Chorley, Lancashire, Mark notices a bright light coming from the hard shoulder up ahead.
I saw in the distance, just past the services, what looked like a vehicle on fire. As he got closer, it was obviously quite a big fire, and then I saw a police vehicle on left-hand side with lights flashing.
But Mark couldn't have predicted what would happen next. He narrowly escapes the burning debris. Astonishingly, a dash cam on a vehicle heading the other way captures the explosion and his lorry emerging from the flames.
I swerved out the way, round the tyre going towards me, and then as I looked to my left, I saw another vehicle in front of it.
Mark drives to safety, and his story ends here. But what caused the fire in the first place? Minutes earlier, David Tiley had been stationary on the hard shoulder when a lorry rammed into the back of him, bursting into flames.
Like somebody being pushed from the back. It wasn't a bang, and I thought, oh, what's that? I didn't know then that somebody run into the back of me. Of course, I run back to have a look. All I thought was, God, is he alive? That's what I thought, because of the mess of it.
After moving his lorry away from the flames, David risked his life and rushed to pull the other driver free.
All went in my mind. We were both going to die. Because the heat was unbelievable. You couldn't imagine. And carried him round to the back of mine and the front of his. But the front of his was gone. There was nothing there. Just shattered. Everything was gone. The thing I can remember is when I'm kneeling down with him and he said, I'm sorry, I fell asleep. He said, don't leave me. That's all he said. And I said, I'm not going to leave you. You're all right. And then that's when it, woof. That's when the big thing went.
David had pulled the other driver free with just seconds to spare.
It was a huge flash, and that was the one the diesel tank went up. And the diesel tank's on the near side, and it went over the motorway. If he'd have still been sat in his cab when that tank went, that both of us had gone. There was no cab left. There was no way you could survive that.
The driver who fell asleep was made to do a driver awareness course, while David received a commendation from the fire service for his bravery. Coming up, 3 crashes in one for this driver.
The car just flew straight off the lorry and straight into someone's garden.
And one of the world's worst parkers...
Yeah, that's the curb. Oh, it's a stall. It's the stall now.
learns from the world's best. There are more cars than ever on the UK's roads, with 600,000 added in the last year alone. And more cars can mean more accidents. Like this.
Jesus Christ, you pillow.
And this. According to a recent poll, we're the second angriest drivers in Europe, after the Italians. Mamma mia. And 4 out of 5 drivers have suffered some form of road rage. It's not just drivers who get angry, cyclists are at it too.
They can't get out! Come here! Get out now! Out!
And when you combine heavy vehicles with high speeds, that's when road rage is at its most dangerous. As amateur racing car driver Bob Horton from Clitheroe knows too well, he loves speed, but only if it's controlled.
Race driving, type of racing that I was doing, is about being smooth. It's about where to brake and where not to brake, and also what to do if things go horribly wrong.
One winter morning, things did go horribly wrong, and Bob feels his racing training saved his life. The M6, heading towards Warrington. Bob passes a convoy of lorries and notices a driver close behind angrily signalling him to get out of the way.
He tried undertaking twice, and on the third occasion, because it was so busy, I wasn't even aware he'd come alongside me till he appeared in my peripheral vision.
Bob realises the other driver is edging towards him, and then into him. He expects the driver to pull away, but to his horror, the impact continues, pushing him towards the barrier and the fast approaching bridge.
And then you have this horrific realisation that you're now in a situation where you have to do something in the next split second or so.
Instantly, Bob's racing experience kicks in.
So I deliberately put the vehicle into a spin, flicked the back end round so it cleared lane 2, and then it's a matter of catching the spin, correcting it, straightening it all up, and putting it on the hard shoulder.
Missing a van driver by inches, Bob makes it to safety, and just moments later, the lorries thunder by.
Without experience on the track, then I don't think I'd have had the confidence to pull off the manoeuvres that I did that was necessary to save the day.
Bob's dashcam footage enabled the police to track down the other driver, who was given a suspended sentence and banned from driving. And Clitheroe's Nigel Mansell lived to race another day. There are almost 500,000 heavy goods vehicles on our roads, and you'd think cars wouldn't mess with them. But this driver disagrees. Braking sharply in front of a lorry? Never a good idea. Still not a good idea. Still not. Every HGV driver has stories of impatient drivers cutting them up, misjudging their speed, or their turning circle. Well, that was a narrow escape. Oh dear. But it's not just car drivers. Lorry drivers can encounter problems with each other. But their most common complaint? Impatient cars overtaking dangerously. And that's one reason why so many truckers now use dash cams for evidence after a collision, like Luke Tester.
I
I've been HGV Class 1 lorry driver for about 10 years, moving heavy plant equipment. I've got a dash cam just to cover myself after sort of watching people's driving standards and sort of the cutting in front of lorries.
Like this.
If anything happens, you've got your dash cam, your video, you can show it instantly. As long as you're driving correctly, you haven't got a problem.
But one cold morning, Luke's dash cam would capture something much worse than someone cutting him up. As he approaches a row of houses, Luke sees a parked car blocking part of the road, but there's no clue as to what's about to happen.
The car was slowing down to let me through. I continued on, and as soon as I did, the car behind it hit that car straight in my lane, and before I knew, it hit the front of the lorry. The car just flew straight off the lorry and straight into someone's garden.
The other driver hadn't noticed the car slowing in front of him until it was too late. Swerving, he hit the car and smashed head-on into 44 tons of truck.
The force of it did, rock the cab. Yeah, I was shaken up and worried about the damage and the person in the other car mainly. But the front of their car looked so crushed in, we could have squashed them. The neighbour comes out, running over to make sure everyone's okay, the person in the car's okay.
Luckily, the neighbour is fireman Matt Jones.
So the driver was an 82-year-old gentleman. He had pain across his chest from the seatbelt where that had tension, bloody nose from the pressure of the airbag, but other than that, completely unscathed, which was quite amazing considering the impact that it had with a great big lorry.
As for the lorry, it needed repairs, while the car driver was made to attend a driver awareness course. Parking. It's an essential skill, the yin to driving's yang. So why are so many of us so bad, so unbelievably terrible at it? With 17,000 car parks in the UK, you wouldn't have thought getting a spot would be an issue. The problem is, there's often so much stuff in the way. Although plenty of space here. 3 in 10 of us admit to parking miles from our destination to avoid a tricky manoeuvre, but that's just silly. Oh dear, you've parked across 2 spaces there. Time for a bit of an adjustment. Or just don't bother. At least it's not as bad as this charmer's effort. Or this person's. Now that's how you block someone in. But according to surveys, the manoeuvre we fear the most? Parallel parking.
Yeah, it's a struggle.
Despite the fact we all need to do it to pass our driving test.
Go for round 2. We've actually been going for about 5 minutes already.
Of course, it doesn't help if you know you're on camera.
Always going slowly. Yeah, that's the curb. Yeah, try again. That's right. No, go for that space. Yeah, actually, that's a good idea. Oh, it's the stall. It's the stall now.
The person attempting to park this car is Nicola Parton. The amateur filmmaker is her husband, Sam.
It definitely wasn't helpful in any way, shape or form.
No, you weren't really.
We've had, I think, 3 attempts on the right, so this time we're going to go left. Now, this is looking promising. Yeah. You've nailed it, Nix. How do you think that went, Nix?
Yeah, thank you for the recording and the help.
You're actually surprisingly calm there.
I know.
Blow my head.
I think the technique definitely is not quite right. I think expert tuition might be really helpful because it means that my technique will be good and hopefully it'll keep me cool, calm and collected when I'm next doing my parallel park.
It might also shut Sam up. To prove to Sam she can park, Nicola's enlisted the world's greatest parker, Alistair Moffat. He holds 9 world records for doing things like this. And this. And this. Basically, he doesn't need much space either side of his car.
Been on a world tour and I've got it down to 7.5 centimetres, which is sort of the cross diagonal of a post-it note spare gap, so it's quite tight.
Hello.
Hello. So you're an expert at this then, I've heard?
Well, not quite.
Well, we'll see what we can do.
Right, pleasantries over. It's time for Nicola to show Alistair what she's got. Her mission? To reverse into a gap of 2 car lengths, just like in a driving test.
Yes, you're about in the position that you'd be on a public road now.
Okay.
So you're on your own.
Okay.
She's massively panicking.
Now I'm just gonna wait until I pass halfway through.
Yeah.
And then I think I need to go to like 1 o'clock, don't I?
So painful to watch.
Is that okay?
Well, it could be better.
So,
Okay, time for a bit of expert tuition.
Okay, let's go back then.
Alistair's technique is simple.
Just straight back, straight back. Keep going.
I would turn
keep
at
going.
this stage.
No.
Reverse until your head's level with the other car's door pillar.
Right, okay, and full left-hand lock.
Yep.
Then, when the door handle in your mirror reaches the curb, straighten up.
Okay, now straighten it up. Go on, keep going. Off the lock a little bit.
So go left
Yeah,
now.
that's it.
Hats off to Alistair, you must have these unbelievable patience.
Go on. Okay, stop.
There we go.
Yeah, not too bad. I don't think we killed anybody doing that, did we?
I think she's feeling very proud of herself now.
Boom, nice work. Now to wipe the smile off hubby's face completely. Let's move the cars closer together to show Sam how it's really done.
Hello. Jump in.
I don't need a lesson. I've never had a problem parking, so...
Yeah, in much the same sort of size gaps, yeah?
Maybe not.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Right, well, we'll give it a go, shall we?
Yep, go for it.
Okay. Don't touch my pedals, okay?
Go fast.
Fair play. Okay, that is fair enough.
Not a lot of space left there.
And now Nicola has her own little video to share. Job done. Coming up, blamed for an accident that was somebody else's fault.
Obviously, I knew I was driving really slowly, that it was my right of way.
I think that lady was driving too fast because the accident was so serious.
And what do you get when you mix a mattress, an ex-wife, and a runaway tractor?
And the next thing I knew, the tractor was off down the hill without me.
Every year, there are around 80,000 serious accidents at junctions, almost half the total. With traffic coming from different directions, at different speeds, you've got to have your wits about you. And hope other people do too. Crashes happen quickly at junctions. And sometimes it's not immediately clear what caused them. And when you need proof,
Oh dear.
A dash cam can help clear up the mess. Pam Dutton from Willenhall in the West Midlands. How would she describe herself?
Quite an organised person, making sure everything's done properly and in the right order.
Organised, and that skill can come in very handy. The school holidays, and Pam was driving her son to the local pool.
I live very locally, so it was literally 2 or 3 minutes from my house.
Her route takes in a busy junction. She crosses safely a couple of times every day. But this time would be different.
The lights were on green, doing about 19-20 miles an hour over the junction. And before I knew it, I just saw the car come out of nowhere. The impact of the crash, it was like a thunderclap. It was really loud.
Surprisingly, no one was seriously hurt. As Pam and her son are checked over by paramedics, the police take statements from witnesses, including Mandip Singh, who'd been sitting in his car in another lane.
When I seen the impact, I thought because it was a big bang, I think that lady was driving too fast because the accident was so serious.
Mandip's statement meant Pam's day was about to go from bad to worse.
One of the police officers said, one of the witnesses said you were going too fast. Obviously, I knew I was driving really slowly, that it was my right of way. So to be accused of something like that for an accident that wasn't my fault, it was quite upsetting.
And if the insurers thought Pam was to blame, she'd have to pay thousands to fix the damage. But organised Pam turned straight to her dashcam.
If I hadn't had the footage, I wouldn't have been able to prove to the insurance that it wasn't my fault.
But what about proving it to Mandip? Well, we brought them together for the first time since the collision.
So this is the footage of the accident. I don't think you've seen this yet, have you?
No, I haven't seen it. Let's go for it.
So this was me just crossing over the junction.
Yeah.
Green light, as you can see.
Yeah.
There she is. She came right round there, smashed straight in front of me.
Yeah. I had a totally different idea when I seen the accident. I was thinking he was doing a lot of speed, but looking at this, and the speed is below 30, so.
It just shows you the perception. You thought I was speeding, but obviously I was doing like 19 miles an hour.
Go Pam. The joys of a drive in the country, meeting a different sort of commuter. Come on, chaps, move out of the way. Coming face to face with nature.
Hello, little duck. Quack, quack, quack. What are you doing, doggy?
Where other road users are courteous and no one's in a rush.
Yeah, don't worry, lads. No problem at all. Have a nice day now.
On second thoughts. Rural roads carry half the UK's traffic, but account for 2/3 of fatalities. And Ireland's no better. Amazingly, no one was injured in this hay bale avalanche. Yep, farm vehicles can be a right old menace, depending on who's in charge of them. Riding along on his tractor one afternoon, Terry Davis from Kent was a man on a mission.
But basically we had a new mattress being delivered, and the company charged to take the old one away, so I decided that I would bring it up here and dump it on the dung pile and burn it.
As you do, but this was to be no normal day of burning bedroom essentials.
Well, I brought the tractor and trailer round to here and parked it in the same position, in a jackknife position with the wheels facing uphill, got off to start to burn the mattress, and I had no idea how those wheels turned themselves, but they did, and the next thing I knew, the tractor was off down the hill without me.
Terry's CCTV captures the tractor careering out of control, smashing straight through 2 fences.
It was aiming straight at the substation down there and the poles, and behind that are stables and a barn. If it had gone into those, it could have done a horrendous amount of damage and even injured or killed some horses. But it went down the bank between 2 trees, which is the only place it could have gone without causing major damage.
Moments behind, the CCTV shows Terry in hot pursuit.
Well, I had to run after it. I mean, it's a natural instinct just to run after it and try to get on it, but it was going too fast to get on.
Miraculously, the tractor comes to rest in a field, having missed all of the horses. But who owns that field? Only the ex-wife.
When the tractor was in the field and I'd recovered my composure, I did phone her to tell her what had happened, and she was pretty horrified. But when she came up and saw that nobody was actually injured or no serious damage, then she was okay about it.
Phew. But since the footage has gone public, Terry's pals have been less forgiving.
Well, Benny Hill keeps coming up for some reason. I'm chasing after the tractor. And especially the Olympic jump over the electric fence at the end. I don't know how I got over that, but I did.
This Olympic jump?
Yeah, that's quite funny.
Brand new next tonight, Paddy McGuinness and Jimmy Carr join Keith and the gang for Celebrity Juice on ITV2, and in a new series on Saturday at 9:15 here on ITV, recreating some classic movies for the Keith and Paddy Picture Show. What could possibly go wrong when Paddy and Keith team up? Tonight, Thursdays, ITV News at 10 is next.